Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Pinkprint podcast. Today, we're sitting down with Lucia, who is in Naturopathic Medicine School. Yep. She studies in San Diego, and she gave us a quick visit in Miami. So we're so excited to spread all the knowledge on holistic healing. And this is your Pinkprint to Naturopathic healing.
Great, thank you for having me.
Of course. I think we're both really into lots of forms of healing. Mm-hmm. And I think that also we love to go the natural route versus not. So tell us a little bit about what it is. What is it that you study, and a little bit behind it, how you got into it.
Okay, so let's start with what is naturopathic medicine. So naturopathic medicine, the way it differs from allopathic medicine, which would be your more
traditional,
quote unquote, traditional form of medicine, is that in naturopathic medicine, what we try to do is to get to the root cause and not just treat the symptoms. So usually when you go to the doctor, for example, like you have a fever or you have pain, they'll give you pain meds like NSAIDs or like antibiotics to kind of like ameliorate whatever symptoms you have, so that you can feel better and just go with your day. But usually the symptoms are just a manifestation of whatever the root cause of your symptom is, which a lot of the time in the traditional healthcare system, it is, in my opinion, then it depends who you ask, a little bit flawed in terms that we don't have even the time to get to the root cause of what actually caused it, which could be mental, emotional, it could be more physical, it could be whatever it is. Usually there's like a deeper cause, and what naturopathic medicine tries to do is to get to that root cause and then treat it by using more natural methods and tools such as herbs, homeopathy, hydrotherapy, Chinese medicine. There's a bunch of different modalities that then help you, and we call it to restore the vis, which is kind of your internal, you can call it soul, you can call it energy, you can call it healing energy, whatever it is inside of you that allows you to kind of like restore yourself to fully implement the base to then actually become healthier and not just treat whatever symptoms you have going on. So that's how they differ. And then the way that they're actually alike is that I think as healers, all healers, we're just trying to like, you know, help people feel better in general in it. And yeah, so I think that's a little bit the difference and similarities between them.
Like, is this not so up our alley?
No, it's totally up our alley.
Like,
I'm like, this sounds so interesting.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm not interesting. Like, this is exactly what, you know, we like.
I know. Like, well, do you know Louise Hay?
I was just
I don't think so.
Okay.
You have to look at her things.
Okay.
Because basically, do you want to say it?
No, go.
Oh, Louise Hay's, well, she's someone who like would write a lot about, and she has a book about symptoms, and she has a book that we both read called Healing Your Body, and basically how every single also symptom means something differently mentally. So like, I don't know, like my elbow hurts, the elbow means this, or headaches, migraines mean this, or whatever this. So it's just so interesting because it's like every single different part of your body speaks to you, and it means a different, you know, internal mental thing that we can then work on in the root problem. And she herself cured her own cancer.
Oh, that's amazing.
By doing lots of things, you know, but that's how she like, you know, and she knew that like her cancer specifically was like, I think like in the uterus or something, and she had trauma about that when she was younger. So she really went down to the root cause. She took her time. The doctor was like, all right, I'll give you like 6 months or something like that. And then she like healed it. So
that's amazing.
It's really interesting because your body does speak to you.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it and you really try to treat it from within to the root cause, like you said, you know, you can really heal yourself, and you don't have to be using all of these medicines and stuff.
And I think one misconception I think now about natural healing in general, there's a lot of like trends to and things to follow. So like I think
we need to get into that, because it's like I don't know who or what to believe anymore.
Yeah, you kind of get lost in all of that. And I think at the end of the day, the healthcare system is a business, so people are just trying to make money too. And so like you have all these like trends and stuff, and I think they always come from a good place of wanting to like heal people. But I think that's why it's important to then turn it more into like a science too, even if I don't love that terms, because even if you look into like research, it's very biased, it's very flawed in a lot of ways. But at the same time, it's that we need to learn to listen to our bodies. But a lot of people that do all these natural things still don't understand what it means to listen to your body, because we've moved so far away from even understanding how to listen to ourselves that it becomes like hard for example, now that I am in clinic, I started clinic at school, and we have a lot of patients that are doing all these things, and sometimes the treatment plans is literally cutting down on some of their supplements because we're like, you don't need all these things that you're taking. You're like, this isn't doing what it's supposed to do. And I think that too with like people that go through like a more natural route, when you don't have guidance sometimes, what can happen is that you start doing all these things and then you're like, oh, it doesn't work, but because it's not an intentional work yet. Right. You're not working with yourself, actually. You're just taking
supplements or probiotics, and you think that's still helping, and it's like it's not still targeting what needs to be fixed. So I think that's what it is. It's not as much the modality, it's like how in tune you are with what you're doing, and do you believe it's actually going to help, and like what's your interaction with whatever plant or medicine you take. It's so interesting.
It's so interesting, and I think like this like buzzword, like getting to the root cause, is so important, and I want to speak on this a little bit more. For example, yesterday I had my form of therapy, which is like aura healing. It's a spiritual healer that we talk to. She's a healer. I'd say aura healing. That's what her Zell is. Aura healer. She's amazing. Gio introduced me to her, and I'm like an Aquarius. I'm a little bit more of a skeptic, a little bit more like cold, unless I'm like working on my emotions. But for the most part, I'm going to be like strong, have a wall, and like not break my emotions down. So for me to like do this, it's really important. And I know that I have like a lot of trauma manifested in my body, which is why I'm trying to get to the root cause to like break it down. And I talked to her, and the whole like 55 minutes, I'm like strong, like listening, like not crying. And then the last like 3 minutes, she's like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, sad. And I like just start hysterically crying. And I text her after. I'm like, I have a really bad headache, like really, really bad headache. Like, what does it mean? And she's like, what part of the head? And I said like front sinus area. And she's like, it's you like literally allergic to your emotions. Like you need to like feel your emotions and like go through it. So it's just back to like all of these things are so connected, but I just found it so interesting. So we have to like really like fall apart to heal from within.
And it looks different from everybody too. Like some people, even with like herbs, homeopathy, all these like treatments, some people are very susceptible to them right away. And also because I think there's a part, we say some of like the founders of naturopathic medicine and there's kind of, even naturopathic medicine kind of split into two main realms, let's say. One that it's much more scientific and they work more kind of like allopathic medicine, so they'll have like clinics that are set up similarly to more allopathic medicine, and then there's a little bit more of the traditional, more energy healing, like healing type of like naturopathic medicine. But we always say, there's like one of my favorite classes that I took while in medical school, that we used to say that like healing is there's a little bit of magic that we can't explain, which is why things like what you explain or what you're saying like kind of happen that we don't fully understand. And then I'm always careful to talk this way, because then you lose a lot of people. They're like, okay, now you're just like crazy, like talking crazy stuff.
Well, we're like, not crazy, so tell us.
I know, but it's like, it's crazy because like our body, in my opinion, it is magical a little bit. Like there's things that we can't explain, and there's like certain energy and like movement of certain energies that like help you to heal. And whichever modality is that works for you, that stimulates kind of that internal like magic, I think that's where the real healing comes from. But it takes time to realize what you need, what you don't need, what works, what doesn't work. And I think what's great about naturopathic medicine is that we're trained in all these different modalities, and then most people tend to like lean more towards one modality than the other that we can provide. But it's like you always try to meet the patient where they're at, and go based on what they need and what kind of modality you think they're gonna respond best, instead of just being like, oh, you have this, obviously you're just gonna take this and that's what it is.
But that's like, I feel like anything in life, like which workout's best for you. Someone's gonna say running, someone's gonna say Pilates, someone's gonna say lifting. So it's kind of like the same exact thing. Like, of course you're gonna do what's best for you, and sometimes it is a lot of trial and error, but it's worth like trying them all. My question to you is, what do you think of people who, like the people who are like, oh, this is crazy, it doesn't work, I need like a steroid, blah blah blah. If they were to try this different modality, do you think since they're not like open to it, it wouldn't work?
I think it really depends. I think people are skeptical because, again, I think you have to be very intentional with this kind of medicine, and you have to go to people that also know what they're talking about and are doing. Like, it takes a lot of time because, again, there's less research, there's less like things that you can just be like, for example, pharmaceuticals, like there's specific side effects that you know might happen, there's specific things that you know are gonna treat, and it's just like straight to the point, but then they leave you with a bunch of side effects because they're more general and they're less specific. Natural medicine, it's usually more specific, but it takes a longer time to understand how to target it. So I think, especially in the world that we live in, that people just want fix, like
instant gratification right now.
Exactly. Like, it's hard to like find the time, and I think that's what people that are skeptical, like, they haven't been able to go through the process yet to find something that really works. But at the same time, I always say this, I think healing and health is something so personal, and you can't force anyone into believing into anything.
Yeah.
Now, back to your question, I think if you find the right treatments, the right herbs, the right modality, the right homeopathy, whatever it is, it will work no matter what. But it's a process, and it really depends. So it just,
I think part of like the magic is also, I mean, believing in it a little bit. And like, I think it connects to like with your brain and like you believing that it's going to work, and then like mentally, you know what I mean? And it's like that loop of like, you know it's going to work and you believe in it, and then you're doing it, and then like, and then it just happens. You know what I mean? And then you cure yourself from certain things. I mean, cancer, that's like a crazy, you know, comeback. Other things are like, you know, different. But I think that there needs to be, you're right, like some sort of connection to it. I think a lot of the people that I know or that I've seen, they like take florals.
Like floral essence.
I know in Portuguese, florais. I don't know, like, you know, but they take it and then they're like, I've been taking it for years. And I'm like, but then you start to just take it, and then like, are you even focused on fixing the cause still, or you just like think you're taking it and it's gonna fix all your problems, and like you're doing what you have to do and you're taking it every day and checking off a box? I think that people still need to remain connected with the intention, like you said, like, oh, I'm fixing it for this, and it's not just like I'm gonna take it. No medicine is just you're gonna take it and it's gonna fix your problems if you're still not making specific maybe changes in your lifestyle, whatever
definitely, and
it might be.
Again, I don't want to say that it's like, because then there's a lot of misconception where it's like, oh, it's all pseudoscience, like if you don't believe in it, it's all placebo effect, which I don't believe that is true, because I do think that there's certain herbs that are like, you want to use them at super low doses, for example, in certain things, because they can have major side effects. They can be dangerous even because they're powerful. There's certain herbs, I just did a post where you shouldn't take with certain medications. Like when we prescribe herbs and supplements, we always check on what medications people are on, because they can have major side effects. And it's because whether you believe in it or not, they do work and they are powerful. But then I do think that also we have the therapeutic order in naturopathic medicine, which is kind of like level of cure that you want to go, and you always kind of want to start low and then work yourself up. And for example, the highest could be like even surgery if it's needed and things like that. But you kind of like work yourself up, but you can get to levels where it's like it's the same as taking a full-on antibiotic or taking like, so I think it's important to distinguish the two a little bit, but also understand how they work together. So it's kind of like, you have to believe in it, and it's like, I think it's an important part of healing, but at the same time you also have to be careful, because like just because it's natural doesn't mean that, oh, it's not going to work unless I believe in it and there's no side effects. There's definitely things that go along with it, which is why you should have someone to guide you through it a little bit.
Is there a reason or something that really compelled you to go down this path?
Well, I think everything happens for a reason. I think I was just called to, it's funny because no one in my family is in medicine really, but so again, I'm Italian, so I experienced a whole different like healthcare system when I was in Europe and stuff, and then moved here to the US. Didn't even know I wanted to do medicine when I was little, like not even ever crossed my mind. I used to actually do ballet, and that's what I wanted to do, like was like super into it and stuff. And then in high school I realized, I was like, you know what, that's not what I want to do. I want to figure out what I want to do. And then I actually started watching Grey's Anatomy. Love that show. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I want to be a doctor. So then in high school, that's when I like was like, okay, I think I'm going to become a doctor. And then till college, I went the pre-med route. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get into medical school. And I always knew that I wanted to do more like natural healing, also because I've traveled so much. Like, I've been lucky enough to travel with my family a lot, and I've always been exposed to a bunch of different like healthcare system and treating modalities and stuff. So I always knew I wanted to incorporate a more natural route into whatever I was gonna end up doing in medicine. But I didn't know how it was gonna be possible. I thought becoming a DO was gonna be what I was gonna do, and then probably take courses in like more natural healing and then do that. And then I was about to apply. It was my like last year of like college, and I started doing this research, because the more that I got into medicine, the more I was like, I don't agree with the healthcare system here. I was like, it just doesn't align with my values and stuff. And then I went to a very hippie college. I went to UC Santa Cruz. It's like the hippiest place you could.
I went to a volleyball camp there, like for a few summers.
There's like tree people. Like people used to hike to class like barefoot. Like it was that kind of school. So I think that definitely had an influence in me too, where I was like, no, like I don't agree with the healthcare system. I'd rather go into like community health and things like that instead of like working in a hospital. Like, it's just not for me. And so I started doing more research, and then I just came across naturopathic medicine. I saw there were only 10 schools, I think, in the US, and I wanted to stay in California because I was there and I love California. And so I literally only applied to one school, Bastyr. I applied. I was like, if I get in, great. If not, I'll take a year or two to figure out what I want to do and then take it from there. And then I got in, and then it just went. So it just kind of happened. Like, I was like, this aligns, this feels right. And I was like, let's just do it. And that was it.
What about, since you're mentioning different healthcare systems, what about like, it doesn't have to be Italy, but what about that really upsets you about the healthcare system that we have here in the US?
Well, I think that here it's a business, and we've just like lost touch with what it's meant to be. And then I also don't want to completely like disregard it, because I think allopathic medicine is important. I think it's great that we have hospital, that we have doctors that work in hospital. We need all that technology. We need, like, I'm not anti anything, and I think it's important to stay. I think the two medicines should work together instead of apart, and I think that's when you can find the most healing, because you have a major infection, you're going into sepsis, you want an antibiotic. You want to be able to go to a hospital and have those resources. So I think that's very important. I think, though, it's the healthcare system now in the US, it's a business on both sides, honestly. But it's become a business where, like, the patient doesn't really matter anymore. It's all based on, like, the money and how much you can get out of it for, like, insurances. And big insurances literally just rule all of it. So it's not even up to the individual doctors. I think doctors, no matter in what field, are amazing, and most doctors go into it with the intent of do good. It's just once you're in the system, like, also the way it works, it's either you're in the system or you're not. But if you're not, then you're not making any money and you can't work. So I think once you're in the system, though, it's hard to really do what you want, because visits need to be a certain time in order to get paid. You need to prescribe certain things in order to get paid. Like, there's all these things that take away from, like, what the actual healing is, that I'm just like, I was like, I can't be part of that. And the nice thing with naturopathic medicine is that you have a little bit more freedom it's less structured, that you can really take it wherever you want a little bit, and you're less part of the system. But even then, it's also not true, because then you have to charge more because you're not covered by insurance. So then it's like the whole idea of, like, are you actually healing the people that need it, or are you just like healing the, like, rich people that can afford, like, your like $1,000 like visit for, like, your like treatment? So I think with everything, it's just like,
do you think it should be covered by health insurance?
That's a good question. I don't know. Insurances are tricky because it's hard. So the reason why most naturopathic doctors aren't covered by insurance, because insurances mostly cover treatments and things that are meant to be medically necessary, and preventative care isn't like deemed as medically necessary in the US. So that's why they usually aren't covered. I think it would be nice in a way, because then you would be able to provide health to a lot of people that depend on insurance to pay for treatment. So I think that would be great. But I think overall there's gonna have to be like a healthcare like revolution throughout the board, because it's like, since it's a business, it's actually a failing business right now. And the healthcare system, I think, based on what I've seen, is gonna go bankrupt soon. So it's like, I think there's gonna be a whole health revolution, and you see it even with what people want now and what they're like going for. So
yeah, it's so tough, because I have reached out to like, I think 3 different like holistic doctors to run some tests, just like hormone tests and specific like imbalances in my body, but one test is like $500 and it's like, I want to do like 10 tests. But I get like both sides to it. And of course, if you want to really prioritize this, then like you do it and you like figure out the rest of your finances if you are really that like in need of taking that type of test. But I do wish it was covered by insurance, because I want to like get to know my body, and I think that's like the whole thing, that everyone needs to be more in touch with like what their body needs, and these tests are obviously great for that, and they're like a kickstart to be able to get there, because trial and error gets like really tiring sometimes, and I'm like, I don't even know, is this working, is this not? So if you just like had a test to be like, oh, like my cortisol's here, my estrogen, testosterone are here,
is there a way you think to make it more affordable and more accessible?
We do, for example, okay, so first of all, once you become a naturopathic doctor, depending on which state you're in and which state you're licensed, there's certain things and rights that you have as a doctor, because we're not licensed in every state. For example, I'm gonna get licensed in California, and in California I could be almost someone's primary physician, while once I move to Miami, there's no licensing here, so I wouldn't even technically be considered a doctor. So there's certain things that I wouldn't be able to do. Like, I wouldn't be able to have patients, I would have clients, and there's certain treatments and things that I can do. Well, for example, in California, doctors that are not licensed naturopathic doctors there can even prescribe certain medications. They can fully like order tests. So it's different from that point of view. But let's say in a place like California, for example, what we do is that we'll work with patient in the clinic, and like my supervisor, for example, once we want them to do certain tests, what they can do is go through their primary physician if they have one, and then they can order the test. So then it is covered by insurance, because an MD or like a medical provider from like the allopathic route prescribed it. And now in places where we are licensed, for example, California, I think there's like certain applications that you can do. For example, I have a supervisor, and I think she is licensed under like Medicare or Medi-Cal, one of the two. So she can kind of cover some of the services as well and take insurance. But it's very tricky, and honestly, I don't even fully understand it. Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's part of the business side of medicine that honestly we're not taught that much. I think it's one of those things that you kind of just learn as you practice. But there's definitely ways around it, and we always try to like help patients to find the most affordable ways for them. And for example, if someone comes in and they're like, I want this, this, and that, we'll assess where they're at, what they need, and we're like, if it's not really necessary right now, we're like, let's wait, let's try this and that might be, less expensive for now. We'll like hold it off for now, and then once it becomes really necessary, then we can go that route. Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you my experience with doctors. Like, I have a reoccurring, I know I need to cure it on the inside. I've been working on it. But like going to the doctors, they really don't care. No. They're just like, oh, here, love, we'll send you a antibiotic to your pharmacy. I'm like, I don't want to take any more antibiotics. I can't take any more antibiotics. Number one, it's just so bad for me, and like my body's just gonna keep getting used to the antibiotic, and it's just gonna be it's not helping. But the doctors, I mean, maybe they quote unquote say they want to help, but you're not really getting to the root cause of this, or you're really not helping me. And I've had that experience a few times, and I just think that they don't sometimes really care. They're just like, all right, let me send you an antibiotic. It'll cure my symptoms for the time being, and then the thing is, it's recurring, so then it just comes back, and who needs to deal with it? Me, frustrated over and over again. So I was like, enough is enough. I'm going to like heal it on the inside, like through the therapies I'm doing. I am trying to get very natural probiotics, a few that I found after speaking to another doctor, you know, to really heal it that way. And I'm in the process. But I think, like you said, it's flawed in the sense that, like, it's just sometimes I don't think every doctor cares about you being healed. Truly.
And it's the same with, like, and I know a lot of women complain about this, like, I go to the OBGYN, but when I was in college, I was having, like, the same issue, and they'd be like, oh, let's just switch your birth control again for the 5th time. And it's like, how is this helping? Like, you just keep switching my birth control. Like, I still don't feel good. The same thing keeps happening. Like, how many times are you going to switch my birth control until you realize that birth control is not the answer? And it's like, everyone I talk to is like, oh, when you, like, are talking to a doctor, you just need to be your own advocate, which, like,
dude, really do. You need to advocate for yourself.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And again, I think what's hard for doctors is that it's not even that they don't care, it's that they're thrown in a system where it's like, they can't care. Like, if you take too much time, you won't get paid for the time that you put in as a doctor. So then it's like they also have to make a living. Like, you know, it's all these, like, people that went through medical school. Medical school is very expensive. Most people take loans out, so then you have to pay that too. Then, like, if you don't follow certain, like, rules in the system, then you literally don't end up getting paid. So they put you in a situation where it's, like, hard for you to succeed as a doctor. And then it's harder for you to create a relationship with your patients. And we call it a therapeutic relationship, which, like, in naturopathic medicine, we say that's, like, super important, which is why if you go to a naturopathic doctor, usually your visits are going to be between an hour to 2 hours long, because you're really trying to connect with your patient to understand, like, first of all, are we a good fit to work together? That's nice. Second of all, it's like, let me understand you as a person and the symptoms that you're presenting with, so I can help you, like, holistically, like, fully, instead of just, like, with that one thing. So I think that's, like, the main thing with that. And then I think even then with the, like, whole, like, birth control, for example, it's like they follow certain things that are just set in stone, that it's not individualized to who you have
at all. And it's like, oh, you're bleeding too much, you have too much testosterone. Oh, and it's like, maybe not, like, maybe it's something else. Like,
and the thing too, I think that's why I always say I think allopathic and naturopathic medicine should work together, because neither one alone can fully cure I think a person, also because in the way that we live, like, naturopath, and I'm a big believer, like, you should live in accordance to nature, like, you should try your best to, like, you know, remove, like, all the obstacles to cure. That's, for example, like, certain toxins or certain things, like, eat healthy, you know. But yeah, it's so hard sometimes to, like, live that way because our society aren't set up that way anymore. So I think now the best way to heal is truly, it would be to bring the two medicines together. And, like, for example, you're taking antibiotics because you need to in the moment. Okay, then also have your naturopathic doctor help you support that by, for example, antibiotics. What they usually do, especially for your gut, they'll go in and kind of, they're destroying the bad bacteria, but destroying the good bacteria in the process too. So what we usually do when people come to us with, like, antibiotics, will, like, in, like, doctors, naturopathic doctors will give you, like, specific probiotics or specific things to help you not fully lose everything you've built so far. So I think that's why I think it's not, and people usually go either one route or the other. It's always, like, black and white, but I think it should actually be the opposite. It should be a little bit of everything and learning to juggle, like, the both things. Balance. So that balance is always key in my opinion. And so I think that's where we're lacking the most right now in health. It's like we don't have communication between the different systems.
It's true. Speaking of balance, I want to hear, like, if your perspective on health and wellness has changed since you've started school, and also what you think, like, how impactful is, like, diet and exercise when it comes to all of this as well.
I feel like my perspective on health changes every day.
Literally.
It's like every year that I'm in school, I'm always like, whoa. And then the more I learn, the more I realize I absolutely don't know anything. Like, nothing, which is why I do think it's important as individuals to learn to kind of advocate for yourself, like you said. But major change I've done, for example, I used to be vegetarian for 6 years. A year into school, I started eating meat again, and now I eat, like, meat. I'll try to eat good quality meat, bought it from the farmer's market, like specific types. So it's not like I'm just like eating McDonald's every day now.
Of course.
But that's, for example, a major change that is like change. And if you ask me now, should I eat meat or not? I would most likely tell you, yeah, you should.
Why?
But I was a hardcore vegetarian for like 6 years. So I think that too, and I think that's fine. Like, I think people are so set into like, I believe this, I'm gonna believe this no matter what. Science changes all the time. We learn new things all the time. Our body change all the time, which is why I like talked about this the other day, where I was like, even diet, like we think we're like, oh, I'm this and I'm gonna be this for the rest of my life, but your body changes. It has different needs all the time. So why do you have to be on one diet that limits you when like your body and your environment is constantly changing? That doesn't make sense. So I think, yeah, it just changes always, but I think that's fine. And I think people should go along with kind of changing even what they think, and not drastically, but it's like, listen to yourself, listen to your body, understand, and based on what you know, make the most like, you know, educated decision that you can make in the moment and time, and never be too harsh on yourself. And like, you know, I think we're all just trying to do our best. So like, I think that's really it. And in terms of lifestyle and diet and all of that, I think that's where the real medicine comes in. I think I'm someone that like in my future practice, in the way I want to practice, I never want to put someone on a supplement for the rest of their life, because even if it's natural, to me, there's no difference to giving someone a pill for the rest of their life. I think the real healing comes once you change your lifestyle in a way that works for you, and you do things that like make you feel good and are long lasting. Like a supplement every day is not going to change your life.
I think, I know that you posted something, not the other day, but in my head it's recent, that like you used to never run and now you're like incorporating running, right?
Well, okay. I was a runner for a very short time because I hate running.
Okay.
But I gave it a try. Yeah. And like that's the thing too. I like to experiment with myself too. And I think, and it's a big thing that we learn in classes as well. It's like, experiment on yourself as much as you can in a safe way, so that you can also understand once you get. Because if you came to me, you're like, oh, I need to start working out. I'm like, yeah, just run every day. And I can't even do it. Then it's like, okay, let me try it in ways that like work for me. I realize running, it's not for me. I'm more of a walker. I'll walk, I'll do yoga and things like that. But I still tried it. It was fun. It was great. So I think it's like, even then, like experiment with yourself. Like find what works or not. But yeah, my running career didn't last long.
I think I tried to do the same thing. Like my cousin is like training for a marathon right now. And he's always like, just like go for a run, like run a mile, whatever. And it's interesting because when I run here, it is the hardest thing on planet Earth. It is so unenjoyable. I don't like any second of it. And then we were on vacation together over the summer in like Cape Cod, and the weather is so beautiful there. And like, I think also when you're traveling and you're running, like you're like kind of exploring. And we both went on a run, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be a runner now. This was the best experience of my life. I come back to Miami. I ran like 4 miles when I was there. And then I came back. I ran maybe like half a mile, and I was like, I can't. I have a cramp. I can't breathe. I don't like it. So
definitely, I've never even attempted to run here. I don't think I could.
Oh, in California must be pretty. But I can walk in California too, and like hike. I think it's like, how do you think that living in California and even Miami makes such a like difference and impact on like our mental health and just like
environment
and like lifestyle?
Definitely, I think.
I mean, California to me is like.
Both places, I think.
I know.
I honestly got so lucky because I can't say like, I'm like, I have to go to Miami now. I'm like, I get to go to Miami. Like, you know, even when I come back home. So I think that's great. And I do think both places are much like, we're always outside. We always have sun. Like, we always have like vegetables and fruits. Like they're, especially Miami, it's very tropical. But then California, they're on a big like health wave as a society in general. Like there's so much, like there's farmers markets every day that you can go to. There's like farms everywhere. So that's great. And that's the thing too, then you go in other places in the US where that's what I'm saying, it's not feasible to like live that way.
Totally.
So then you have to learn to like adapt and find ways that work for you based on where you live in. But it definitely has major impacts. For example, our main campus is in Seattle, Washington. And we always like joke around that they need like they always have to supplement with like vitamin D and stuff because they barely get any sun. So those are also things to keep in mind. Even like the way we eat with different cultures and stuff, usually if you eat more in accordance to whatever culture you're from, usually you'll feel a lot better than adapting to like an American like lifestyle, for example, if you immigrated here. Because your genetics and your DNA, it's made for a certain type, not made that it's like that's what you should eat and period, but sometimes the treatment is literally like one of my professor was talking about like how she helped this this lady just through diet by allowing her to like start cooking again based on her like culture, like her parents' culture, and all her gut issues disappeared because like she started like cooking in accordance to like, you know, more what it felt like home, even if she didn't realize because she grew up here.
I love that.
And
I believe that. Like my dad
get to cook in Italian food.
No, I can eat pasta every day. But that's another thing. Like the pasta here is different than the pasta in Italy. But anyway, like my dad, everyone is always like, what is your dad's secret? Like we're playing tennis the other day and this like my dad's 75 and this 40-year-old is like, I hope that I like can play tennis like your dad when I'm that age. Like what's his secret? And I'm like, olive oil. Like I'm kidding. But the man like eats so as if he's in Sicily. He eats like very Mediterranean diet, like fish, vegetables, but always like has like a pasta. Like it's true. He eats like he's at home all the time and it feels and looks amazing for his age.
Yeah, definitely. And
and overall very balanced.
Yeah, no, even just cooking. Like we've lost so much like interacting with food at like a physical level. Yeah. Like even just cooking your own food just to connect with what you're eating and then know that you've prepared, you know what you put in it. So when you're eating it, you're like, okay, this is working for me, not the other way around. Yeah. And also, whatever, with the food thing, I could talk about it for ages. But even like here, I think like it's become such a science where people, even like the whole health trend, it's like, oh, but if I eat this, I need these amount of grams and this, that it's like, it takes away all the joy of like eating. Like,
I know.
And honestly, like I was guilty of it this morning. Like I did like an arm workout, whatever. I'm like, oh, I need like 30 grams of protein now. And I'm like, I don't fucking want to eat like a protein shake. I'm going to eat like my oats. Like they make me feel good. I get to have like my fruit. Like I think for so long, and I think a lot of women can agree, it's so hard. Like you always want to like be fit, like work out, do the best thing for your body. But it's so like much noise all the time. Like why do I need 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal? Like why can't I just like eat what feels good? I was eating like eggs and cottage cheese and like only protein, and I would literally, number one, be hungry like an hour later somehow, even though I just ate 50 grams of protein. And I was like, you know what, like fuck this, I'm just gonna go back to like my old self, what I know makes me feel good and like full and nourished. And it's literally like, I don't care, it's like overnight oats with chia seeds and like honey and fruit, and people will be like, oh, that's like you're eating a bowl of garbage, like just sugar and carbs. And it's like, that's what makes me feel good and like full and satisfied and like just good.
Yeah, the other day I had like friends, like we were like discussing or talking about like how fruits are actually so bad for you because
it's table sugar and blah blah blah,
and it has like, so much sugar. And I was like, I just eat blueberries, like it's great for your digestion, great for your memory. I have great memory. Like I love my blueberries, and I'm like, I love grapes. They're like, that's so much sugar. And I was like, oh my gosh, shit's fucking healthy. I'm not eating brownies.
There's this whole trend right now that fruit is bad. Fruit isn't bad. The sugar in fruit is not, and then again, I always want to be careful because you want to look at the science too and be sure, and like you like, but it is natural candy in a way, but it is good for you. And like I think if it's between that and actual candy, go eat whatever grapes you want and like have fun with it. And blueberries, for example, great antioxidants. So instead of taking like a supplement that like just eat a bunch of blueberries and you get a bunch of antioxidants that helps you kind of like clean out your gut and stuff too. Like it's great.
And like the same
also in moderation. I'm like, I have a box of blueberries every day. But I mean, like, you're not eating it like a full plate of fruits every day. You know what I mean? So they're like, no, that's actually bad. I was like, I'm not gonna start thinking fruits are bad for you.
But the same people that will say like don't eat blueberries will drink like a bottle of wine or like eat a stick of butter with their steak. Like it's like, okay, like what? Then everything's bad for you.
And that's the thing. Everything is bad for you the same way I think everything is good for you. I think Sometimes I'm like, oh, I ate this and I did this for my soul. Like, I needed a whole batch of French fries, and did I eat the whole thing? 1,000%. Did I feel great after that? 100%. Am I gonna eat French fries every morning? No.
Yeah.
But that was good for me in the moment. Like, I need a little picker-upper, and that's fine. And then, like, you feel like, and then, like, also be conscious about it. Like, okay, I just eat that maybe now, like, you know, but it doesn't have to be a science. Like, it's like your body will tell you what you need. If you actually listen to it, like, you'll know when you overdid it.
No, if now you're getting too strict, and like, again, like you said, like, enjoy eating. Like, I like my fruit. My blueberries. And then I'm happy and I feel good that I had a healthy snack. Like, leave me alone. You want me to eat something else that's like not as joyful, and then I'm like sad because I can't eat what I want. Like,
and then you end up like eating more things because you're not satisfied, and then it's like, okay, like I should have just had the blueberries to begin with.
Right.
Definitely.
Let's talk a little bit about the different modalities. Like you mentioned, you know, there's Reiki, there's homeopathic medicines, there's acupuncture. Is that one that you guys can, like, there's many different ones?
Yeah, there's a bunch. So in naturopathic school, so naturopathic medicine, we learn a bunch of different modalities for like our toolbox kind of thing. And again, in 4 years, how much can you learn of each thing? It's like, it's kind of like a crash course in like everything. Because then usually, once you start your practice, people will like, you'll have naturopathic doctors that are more into labs and like doing things that way. There's more naturopathic doctors that are more into the energy healing. There's more naturopathic doctors that are then into like more like botanicals and homeopathy. So then you kind of decide to choose. But we learn a bunch of different modalities so that then we can either use them in combination based again on what the patient is presenting with and what we think they're gonna respond the best to. But it's mostly just a way to, like, again, there's not one thing that it's gonna fix like everything. So it's just learning like all these different things so that we can fully give like an holistic like treatment.
Which one is your personal favorite?
So I'm a big homeopathy and botanical person. So I love homeopathy. I love botanicals, which is like herbs and like things like that. And I think once I'm gonna open my practice, that's gonna be like mostly what I'm gonna end up doing. Also,
I'm gonna be your first client.
I love it. Signed up.
You have to open here though, or can we? Well, I guess
so
in
that's
California.
why I said client, not patient.
Oh, client.
Yeah,
she's so smart.
But my plan is gonna be to move back here. So I'm planning on still getting my license in California, which means I could have patients even through telemedicine. As long as they're in California, I could do that. And so I'm planning on doing that. But then in Miami, I would love to open like a little like office clinic where it's like homeopathy and botanicals and stuff, and mostly focus on that. So that's my favorite. But yeah,
can you take us through your toolbox right now? Yes.
Let me show you. Okay.
Yeah, for those of you guys that are watching, she's open, or who are not watching, she's opening her little red pouch.
Yeah, this is like my little like just on the go medicine that I take. Again, it's mostly homeopathy. So homeopathy comes in these little packets.
Oh, I've taken those. My mom's taken those too.
Yeah. Arnica is great for like bruises and like muscle stuff. And the way homeopathy works, it's like super low doses that get kind of diluted over and over and over. So it's super interesting. It's actually just the energy of the plant that is left in the palate, and it's supposed to, you have to match it exactly with your symptoms that you're presenting. And once you match it right, it's supposed to stimulate your V's to be able to kind of take care of whatever is going on. So
they sell these at Whole Foods.
Yes. Well, actually, that's very interesting. They don't sell it anymore at Whole Foods. They banned it because they're not FDA approved.
Boo.
So that's
where can we get it?
I get mine. You can get it either on Amazon, so you can still find them there. In California, we have a bunch of like stores like Jimbo's and stuff like that. Maybe Sprouts might have them.
But on Amazon, is there like a brand?
It's like usually these brands. You have to put in what you actually like want. So, for example, like this one, I always take it before exams and stuff, and helps you for like stress and things like that when you have specific symptoms. And you can just put the name, and usually it'll come up like a bunch of different brands and stuff. You just have to find a brand.
Homeopathic medicine for fatigue or for
and usually that's the thing with homeopathy. I think people don't realize it's like that's I think where you should go and find someone to prescribe you a homeopathic remedy, because actually, for example, in clinic at school, our homeopathic intake are the longest one, because you want to be able to match exactly the symptoms with the remedy, and that's when it actually works.
Okay.
So because like you'll see what it's written on here from the stores. It's like Nux vomica relieves heartburn or drowsiness, whatever. This is actually, I call it the New York remedy, because it's like for people that are like overworking, like if you're nauseous after a day of drinking, people that overindulge because of stress and things like
wow.
So it's like
reading heartburn, I would not be like, this is not for me.
It's like
I don't
very
need this.
specific things that you want to do. So whatever. Yeah, we have a bunch of homeopathy. Then I have all my little tinctures.
Ooh.
So I have some ashwagandha.
That's mushroom?
Sleep. No, that's ashwagandha. So
What's
it's like
ashwagandha?
an herb. Well, it depends who you ask. Some people use it for like psychedelic reasons almost. But when you take it in low doses as a tincture, it can help with like sleep and like just like restore. It's like a restorative like herb and stuff.
But you think that we shouldn't take any of these things unless we really need it?
I think it depends what you need in the moment. Like I'm someone like I don't take anything religiously ever,
Right.
but then I have it with me. Like if one night I know like I want to sleep better, I'll take Skull Cup, or like I'll take certain things that will help me and aid me. If I'm sick, I'll take for like a week or out for however long I feel like my body needs like something to like help me like restore it. So I think it just really depends on what you're going through. It's like, but I take tinctures and supplements and stuff like all the time.
Yeah.
But based on what I need, but nothing religiously where it's like I need this or I need that. And then it also depends where I'm like, at least I think I'm relatively like healthy right now.
Right.
So I don't feel the need to take anything that it's like I'd rather eat like a full meal with like, you know, a bunch of like fruit or veggies that have vitamin C and all these things in it instead of like taking a supplement.
Right.
So
Right. What else
so
do you
yeah,
got?
we got that. We got essential oils for headaches.
Oh.
What's that?
Basil, lavender, peppermint, chamomile.
Oh, I love
stuff
that.
like that. You can just put it on your
Oh,
temples.
it's so good on my temples.
That's so nice.
I
A
always
little
get
bit.
headache like on my temples. That's where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like homeopathic remedies, for example, for that. It's like you have like 1,000 different homeopathic remedies for like headaches, but
Oh my
it's like
God.
specifically to what headache are you
Right,
having
exactly.
right now?
Like-
is it on the left side? Is it on the right
No, I
side?
always
Does it
get
start
both
from
sides.
here?
I know. I've never gotten one like back here.
I know.
I've looked at those like headache maps to know
Yeah.
like what it means. I've never gotten them here
uh-huh.
or in the back. It's so
Me,
funny.
I'm allergic to my emotions.
I get the same one. It's like, geez, the tension.
But yeah, we got propolis, which is good for your throat and stuff, and that's about it. And just like a bunch of other
Wow.
homeopathic stuff.
See, it's like so
love that.
small,
Oh,
super
I love
easy to
it.
transport. Wait, tell us a little about Reiki.
Okay, so
What is Reiki and how and why should people implement it?
Okay, so Reiki is Reiki. Everybody says it differently. I still don't know how to say it honestly, and I have an accent, so never trust my pronunciation. But Reiki is like energy healing. So it's the movement of energy through your body. And my teacher, when I got initiated for Reiki, was like, Reiki goes wherever it needs to go. So it's we as practitioner of like Reiki are just like vessels to like move energies through, but it's gonna go wherever it needs to go. Like there's not a science to it. It's just like energy healing. And she said this that like I live by now, and it's like she was like Reiki finds you, not the other way around. And it actually did happen that way for me. Like she decided to do this course because she's like a Reiki practitioner. She's an ND and does Reiki as one of her modalities too. And she like did like a discount for like students. They posted it in the group chat. Didn't even remember I signed up. And then 2 months after, my friend was like, "Oh, we're going where?" I'm like, "To what?" She's like, "Oh, to get initiated for Reiki." I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." Didn't even like it's like one of those things that you just end up there, and you get initiated by a master. So there's 3 levels. I only did the first level, that it's like more like on touch and like physical. So what happens is that you, as the practitioner, you have the patient, the person like in front of you, and you kind of go into this meditative states, and then you touch specific part of their body, and you kind of follow based on like their energies, and you kind of feel like, I can't explain it, you feel things as you have that interaction. Like while I give Reiki to someone, like my hands will get super hot at a certain point or super cold. I'll start feeling like little like crawling things all over my arm. I'll have twitches. You'll see people have twitches. It's like, it's just like a movement of like energy. And so yeah, I feel like it kind of finds you when you need it. So that's why I'm a big believer whenever you get drawn to it, I think that's when you need it the most. But anybody could benefit from Reiki, and there's studies that show that like can lower your blood pressure, can help with like anxiety and like overall like just, it's like a form of relaxation. It's like saying meditation is just like extra like added like aid into like moving all that energy.
I did it a few times a few years ago. I haven't done it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I want to do it. My mom used to do it all the time, and I really want to try it. But yeah, I haven't either, so I'll wait for it to find me, I guess.
Maybe it just did. It just came into your world talking about it.
I know.
I mean, it's great. I think everybody can benefit from it, and it's just like a nice, I call it like almost like a cuddle, and it depends. I've done Reiki on some people that had some major reactions like to it. Like you never know how it's gonna hit you and how the emotion is gonna come out. Like it's just really crazy. I've seen and felt things that are just like, you can't explain it. Like
I
it's
know,
like, and also that if you try to do, then people are like, "You're just crazy. You're just saying this."
Whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like you feel it. Like your body feels it. It's funny too when I give Reiki a lot of the time, especially if it's an intense session. I went once to wash my hands, and the water was black.
Wow.
My hands were fully clean. It was just energy that was moving through me, like fully. Like I swear, like it looked like I put my hands into like dirt, and then every time I give like a Reiki session, usually after, I have to go to the bathroom and like pee, and it's like, it's not pee, I swear, it's like water just coming
Like
out of it. It's
wow.
like, yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
But it's like,
That is insane.
Our healer, she's not doing Reiki on us, but when she does like energy clearing, she's always yawning, and she says that she like has to yawn because she's clearing so much.
Yeah.
Have she told you?
I can't even imagine like after all the sessions she does in a day, like how
God.
maybe not exhausted, but just like how she releases all of that from everybody.
you definitely have to learn how to protect your own energy too. And
She's told me before, she's like, I have to stop. We have to continue this another day. I'm like, you're like, my demons are affecting you.
She's never told me that before.
Whatever.
Yeah, but I think that's important as a healer too, and we don't let doctors say this enough, which is why a lot of doctors are burned out all the time, is that if you don't take care of yourself, you can't show up for your patients.
Absolutely.
And I think that's
For sure.
that's probably one of the biggest things I'm learning in medical school. Even now, I was supposed to still be there. I still have 3 weeks of clinic, and this year it's been probably one of the hardest, and I was reaching a level of burnout that I was like, if I continue one more week, I don't even know if I can fall. Like, I need to step away. And I was like, also I was like half doing things at a certain point because I was like, I just don't have the energy, where it's like, I think it's important for healers and future healers to understand like it's always going to be there, but in order to really show up for people, you need to be good yourself, and it's totally fine to step away in whatever you do. So.
Absolutely. How can you heal someone if you yourself are not at your best?
Yeah, and even as people too, even if you're not a healer, I think in general, like as people, like
you get to show up with feeling 100%, if not literally in anything, in business, in work, in helping a friend. You just won't be able to give 100% if you don't feel 100%.
Definitely.
Simple as that. We have some rapid fire questions for you.
I guess we should do this like homeopathy style.
Yeah.
Because we want to give you, let us know if you're okay with this. Can we give you like symptoms and you tell us a specific like botanical or herb or plant or
I can tell you probably what I would do based on my current knowledge right now. Again, I'm not a doctor yet, and I'm still learning a lot, and most of this stuff, it's very fresh in there. Yeah. But not in a good way. So I'll do my best, and like whatever comes to mind, I'll tell you what I think you could do or try out.
Okay,
perfect. This is just a little.
We just want to give the listeners some little practical things that maybe they can do, you know? Yeah. So first one, what's a naturopathic remedy for a cold?
Okay, so that's the thing with I can't give you an answer for that because it really depends how you're presenting with symptoms. For example, I'm someone that like my nose start dripping all the time when I'm sick, but it's like depending on what type of drip you have, then you give a specific homeopathic remedy. There's, for example, one, it's called Sipa, which is like onion, so it's like the remnant of like onion, and it's, for example, if you have like very clear discharge and very clear like eye irritation, but that doesn't, you know, sometimes when you have like nose dripping, like it gets all red around. If that happens, that's not your remedy. If it doesn't happen, that might be your remedy.
This is So specific.
Yeah.
Well,
In
what
terms-
about the like garlic with the honey?
Yeah, so that's like something that I do. Then it's more like botanical and like herbs. And I always do. It's called an oxymal, and then I do half a cup. It depends how much you want to say. You do 1 cup of water and you do 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. You bring it to a boil and you put garlic in it. You can also add other herbs, like rosemary is a great antibiotic, kind of natural antibiotic to antimicrobial. I add ginger too. You just let it boil for like a little bit, like 15-20 minutes, and then you strain it, and then I just drink it. And
So
then
a cup of water, a cup of apple cider vinegar with garlic and rosemary.
yeah, rosemary and ginger. And it kind of depends what you want to put in. You can get creative with it, and again, listen to your body and whatever you feel like you're gonna benefit from. Just
What
throw it in there.
about like a sore throat?
So this is great, propolis. I use this. I actually was just like
Propolis.
not that long ago, and this is like bee.
Propolis raw honey throat spray,
it's
you guys.
like bee glue, bee pollen. It's great for your throat. It just goes straight in there and kind of like numbs it and helps you heal it.
Love.
And then echinacea too. It's a great herb as well that you can do either as a tea, as a tincture. But you just don't want to put it directly in your mouth because it's gonna numb your whole mouth. I mean, you can do it, but it's
Oh
gonna
my
numb your whole
God.
mouth.
So you put it in the tea most. That's better.
I take it as a tincture usually,
So what
just
do you do?
because
Like
it's
just drop
easier.
it to the back of your throat, though.
I just put it in water and then chuck
Oh.
the water.
Okay.
You dilute it a little bit.
Got it.
What about a solution for seasonal allergies?
Okay, seasonal allergies is usually tough because it depends what's causing the allergy
What do you
too.
have?
I take Zyrtec every day, which is I should probably do something else. But it's like I wake up like runny nose, stuffy nose, watery eyes, itchy eyes.
So there are a few homeopathic remedies. I think euphrasia was one of them for allergies. And again, it also depends how they're presenting. But allergies, I think the main thing is realizing what it causes it. And then what usually treatments that they do in clinic too would be even like air purifiers or like changing your sheets, often being very mindful
You're not
with
changing
like
your sheets enough.
Once a week.
no, but like it depends. Like I'm someone that is very sensitive to like perfumes and creams and stuff like that. Like I get very allergic. We say in naturopathic medicine sometimes you have obstacle to cure, that you just have to remove the obstacle. So if it's like an actual like particle of something or the environment, either you move away from that environment or it's hard to kind of like ameliorate it because that's your obstacle to cure. So it just kind of depends, but I think kind of pinpointing what it is, that can really help. And then yeah, like you can do tinctures and stuff like that that might kind of alleviate the symptoms, but it depends for that one. Yeah.
Got it.
What about one for stress? I know you mentioned this one, the New York Remedies.
Yeah, that one is great. Well, I usually take that when I go out drinking. Like
Okay.
it helps with like not getting as sick and like things like that. Stress, again, I think it depends what it is, but there's a lot of plants that are called nervines that help to kind of like restore your nervous system and help you like wind down and like relax. Skullcap, that one right there, it's a great one, especially for stress right here on your traps.
Oh, I have
where
that.
it's like, you know, where you get all
Yes,
rigid.
I'm always like this.
Yeah.
Like,
So that one
Interesting.
helps you relax you, like especially like in your
What about your neck?
area.
Okay, neck area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially like right here, tension, headaches, and things like that. That's great. Even aromatherapy, it's amazing. Even if you take a like nice warm shower, you put some lavender, eucalyptus in there, let it
This
like.
is like relaxing me just
offload.
thinking about it.
And this is all things that's the thing too. Like it's so easy to do it even in your everyday. You just
Yeah.
like pop in some like essential oils in there and just do that. Chamomile is amazing to relax as well, and it really just helps you like unwind and stuff. And then what I do when I'm stressed and I want to sleep better, I do the wet sock therapy. That it's also great for like colds, and this is a little crazy, and a lot of people don't like doing it once I explain it, but
Okay.
it's life changing. It's like you get cotton socks and you get them wet. You like
Bring them out.
I'm like,
bring
this
them
already
out,
sounds
yeah.
uncomfortable.
And you put them in the freezer.
Oh!
And you let them freeze while you're getting ready for bed and whatever. And then you also need wool socks. And then once you're ready to go to sleep, you put the frozen socks on, and then you put the wool socks on top, and you just go to sleep. And your feet are gonna be frozen for a second, but then that's when the healing begins. That you just have all your blood kind of moves away from feet to like recycle almost, and then it goes back into it and it warms them up, and it's like a cuddle. Like you literally feel like someone is just embracing you. And when I do that, I fall asleep in literally 5 minutes.
Wow.
I'm like, God. And then you wake up, it's not wet, like the socks are completely dry because your body just warms it up, and like it, yeah.
Wow.
And it's a great like immune booster too.
I'm trying that tonight.
But you need the
for
wool
kids
socks
as well. Yeah,
okay.
that's perfect.
Yeah, I have to find some. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I love doing that treatment. It's amazing.
What is your favorite treatment or tip for digestion? I know like for bloating, you told me about castor oil, so you can talk about that too.
I put castor oil on my eyelashes.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. You can put castor oil everywhere, honestly, but just don't take it internally.
Okay.
But anywhere on your body, it's great. It's great for your skin. And the great thing about castor oil is that it goes deeper than your skin. Like it's able to fully penetrate like the skin. Usually, the best way to do castor oil packs would be by putting the castor oil and then something warm on top, like putting a towel, and then like, you know, kind of like like the warm things that we use for cramps and stuff.
Yeah.
If you put that on top, the heat is gonna help draw the castor oil past your skin and fully get into wherever the inflammation is. So that's usually how you do like castor oil pack. It's very messy and it can be time consuming. So what I do, I'll just put it in my belly button, because if you then look at a more energetic level, your belly button is where your umbilical cord used to be. So it's kind of like connected, and that there's that whole idea. So I just like to put it in there, and it helps me digest. Digestion too, I think it starts honestly by being able to sit down and have a meal where you're not in a flight or fight state. I think that's where most of your digestion happens. Wow. And the best way to like fully heal gut stuff. In terms of like natural medications, you could do bitters. Bitters are plants that are very bitter, and if you spray them in your mouth, there's like they sell like either bitter tincture or sprays that you can spray in your mouth, and you have a bunch of like bitter receptors in your tongue, and it's gonna initiate digestion even before you start eating. So once you start eating, your body's gonna be ready to like digest more readily, so you get less bloated.
So she the one who told you about the castor oil in your belly button?
Yeah, I told you.
She told me. Oh my God.
I put it in my belly button. Sometimes I do like a little lymphatic drainage massage on my belly that I saw like a girl do it on TikTok.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's so funny, and it works.
Oh my God, it works.
It works.
I wake up in the morning and I'm ready to go. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
So what about something to address insomnia?
Insomnia, I actually used to have that. I think that comes with sleep hygiene in general. And I used to be someone that used to not sleep. I used to sleep like 4 hours a night. I couldn't understand people that were just like, yeah, you just go to sleep and you close your eyes and you fall asleep. I'm like, that does not happen to me. You're crazy. But I think like finding a routine that works for you, that helps you like unwind.
Yeah.
So I'll take like a very hot shower every night before I go to sleep. I use mugwort under my pillow. I have a little pouch with the herb itself, and it helps you for dreams and stuff. But you don't also want to overdo it, because then you might have too many dreams. So it depends, but again, lavender, maybe drinking like a warm tea before you go to sleep. And then again, there's a bunch of like herbs. There's like passion flower is a great herb to like help you sleep.
Like magnesium?
Magnesium is great too.
Melatonin.
Yeah. Melatonin, I think it's great, but I would say you want to take it short term, not long term, because you can kind of get dependent on it. It actually happened to me where you just like have to up the dose over and over.
Oh my God.
And it's like, I don't think
that's
doesn't
the point.
really solve anything, but short term, like kind of like solving solution definitely like works. Magnesium is great too. You can either put it like under your feet or take it as like a supplement. So there's different type of magnesium though, and you want to get the one that specifically helps with like more like relaxation. But it's a vasodilator, which means it dilates like your blood vessels, so it helps you relax by like allowing blood to like kind of like rush through and like relax you.
Wow, okay, interesting. And we can just go our last one. What is something that can help with anxiety?
Anxiety, again, I think it's kind of understanding what the root cause of anxiety is.
There's like so many things.
Yeah, and I think honestly, anxiety lately, it's been a term that just gets thrown around a lot. And I think it takes away from people that actually experience because anxiety can be a regular state of mind. Like I've definitely experienced anxiety at some point where I'm like, oh, like that's scary. But then I have friends that actually have anxiety and that go through it, that I'm like, oh, I've actually not, like, that's a whole, like, I don't even know what you're
Like that's
feeling
a whole other
right
different
now.
kind of anxiety that
Yeah,
feeling.
and
Yeah.
so I think it's more complicated than just like you can do this or that, because I see it with some of my friends too. They've had to go through some like soul searching and kind of understanding
Totally.
what triggers it, what does it come from, like what are the components of my anxiety. So I think for that, that's when like deeper work comes in,
Got
where
it.
it's like you don't have one solution for all. In terms of like just stress, like like natural like anxiety that we all experience, anything that can help you, like I think relax, like the herbs that we talked about a little bit and things like that. But yeah, I think that's like when like a little bit of like deeper healing comes in, for sure.
Okay, cool. Lucia, we have come to an end, but we have one more question to you. So we aim to give our listeners the Pinkprint to personal growth and success by giving them a homework assignment, which is a practical tool or tip that they can implement into their lives, you know, live happier and, you know, have personal growth and success. So what is your homework assignment for our listeners today?
I think, that's a good question. I don't know. Try to do whatever you can to get to learn yourself and who you are and why you respond, react, or feel certain ways, and just have conversations with yourself. I think that's a great exercise that we've all lost, me included, and it's like it takes time to do that. So even I used to not be a big journaler, but now I journal whenever I feel like I need to have a conversation with myself. So anything that allows you to kind of understand you better so that you can heal the best too. So yeah, maybe journal.
Okay, we
Journal.
love that. Thank you so much for coming
Of
on
course.
the Pinkprint podcast. Where can people find you? You have an Instagram that you're posting things.
Yes, I have an Instagram. It's at Lucia.Bruzzi_unearthing.
Okay.
And I just...
Bruzzi with two Z's.
Yeah, 2 Z's.
Okay.
And I just... That one, it's more to help people advocate for themselves. So I just do it to like kind of share what I'm learning and stuff. So if you're interested in that and whatever we're talking about, that's, yeah.
It's my
where you
favorite
can find me.
Instagram account. Everyone needs to follow it. She literally
you.
is always posting tips, and
It's hard.
I try them like every single time you post. I'm like, let me do it,
Thank you.
and they all work. It's insane. So
Thank
you
you.
so much, Lucia.
course. Thank you,
I
guys.
love
This was
this
fun.
episode, and everybody, maybe we start all incorporating a little naturopathic and allopathic.
I love that.
Perfect.
Mixing it both. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ciao, bye.